Aristotle was a famous ancient Greek philosopher who thought on how people use their minds. He believed that happiness could be different for everyone, and each person would have a different way to achieve their happiness. He also believed that happiness and pleasure were different. He thought that happiness was forever, but pleasure was temporary. He believed that happiness was the end-all be-all of a person's life, and that it was all a matter of whether the person thought he had lived a happy life.
What do you think makes people happy?
I think definitely good health often makes people happy. When people are sick, it's not good. I think definitely seizing every opportunity and kind of doing everything to the best and succeeding really makes people happy as well. And then just enjoying life in general makes people very happy.
What in your mind is happiness?
Outside, sunny days like this.
That's good. What do you think someone can do to perceive happiness?
Do what they like every day.
That's interesting. Do you believe that happiness and pleasure are related?
I think they're the same thing,
Same thing.
if you do it right.
Do you consider yourself to be a happy person?
I do.
What about your life makes you happy?
All of it.
All of it?
All of it.
So what is happiness? This happiness that you think your life gives you?
Happiness is like a cool strawberry virgin daiquiri on a beach as the sun sets and the warm sand goes between your toes as the waves lap in the distance.
It's how it's like just just satisfaction and contentness with myself and my achievements and having fun and, you know.
So is happiness the same for everybody?
No, definitely not. Some people are happy from, like, some people are affected by things around them, and that, like, changes their levels of happiness. Like, but if people allow, like, okay, so if like someone is mean to you or like says something mean and like you don't really care, you're like, okay, it doesn't really matter. Like if you just choose to be happy, then it doesn't, I don't know. Some people, it's hard for some people to like choose.
Do you think like what drives people to happy, is it different for like people of all ages? Like would like a kid feel a lot of way different drive to be happy than like an adult?
Yeah, and I think that just sort of comes with maturity, you know, like when you're a little kid, like a piece of chocolate will make you happy, but maybe when you're older you have different goals and different aspirations that would make you happy in the long run. Like especially when you're like if you just graduate from college, for example, and you got your degree and stuff, what'll make you happy is like find a steady job, I'm assuming, which is probably what I'm going to be wanting to do in a couple of years. So, you know, a piece of chocolate will make me happy, but finding a job will probably make me happier. I think that's sort of the idea that there's different kinds of happiness in terms of long-term and short-term, you know?
And how would you obtain happiness?
Just by getting things that make you happy, being around people that make you happy and such.
Well, what about them will make you happy? Wouldn't it?
Well,
like,
they're nice, they make me funny, and not mean.
So is there a difference between pleasure and happiness?
Yes.
What is the difference?
Several.
Would you care to name some of your...
Nope.
Please?
There's between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure, you feel guilty afterwards, whereas happiness, you feel fulfilled. I think in the moment they both feel the same, but like in hindsight, being happy is being content, and pleasure is like kind of this like guilty feel, like you're putting off your guilt. God, I don't know. Like happiness is like a job well done. Like, you made an A on your math test. Pleasure would be like, I'm not studying for my math test. I'm going to play 3 hours of Bloons TD5. And that feels great. And then when you get your math test back, it's just like...
Not so happy
So the
anymore.
end result is fulfillment and a good job done versus just like, well...
Pleasure and happiness are often used interchangeably. Do you think they're the same thing, or are they different? Are there differences between the two?
Well, they're definitely synonyms. I think they definitely can be interchanged. Pleasure is more, I guess, something that I associate pleasure with something that's more in the moment, and then happiness is something that's more long term.
No, Aristotle believed that happiness was the same for everybody, but yet everyone who was happy would have one thing in common. And do you know what that would be?
What would it be?
They would have to be dead.
Oh, well.
So basically, happiness is like what you thought in the very end. Like, do you think like you lived your life well enough to be happy? Do you think you accomplished what you wanted, or did you think you made the right choices in the end?
Yeah, I think that's part of like your life, is that you can look back on it and say like, that was good, you know, like, because, and that's sort of like a build-up of what you've done over however long you were alive, you know, is because you have to, if you do good acts, it sort of adds up, and you can see the impact you make on people's lives, and you want that to be a positive impact, so you can be happy when you pass away.
So you think anyone can be happy, regardless of your age or wealth?
Ooh, those are two questions. I think anyone can be happy, yes.
Because Aristotle believed that young people couldn't be happy, and you can't truly be happy until your life is over. Like, you can't say good game about a football game until it's done, because you don't know if it's going to end up actually having turned out well. Do you agree with that or disagree?
Aristotle was wrong, like, a lot. Like, all the time. Have you ever heard of Aristotelian physics? Yeah, that's just straight wrong. So, I don't know. Just like quoting Aristotle doesn't make that idea good in my mind, but I think that comes back to the idea of pleasure versus happiness. Of pleasure is in the moment feeling good, happiness is in hindsight knowing that you did something good. And so yeah, I think you can only be happy at the end of a task, as opposed to pleasure, which you can have pleasure during the task.
Aristotle thought that you cannot have lived a happy life until your life is over. So you can't, like, some person who's still living can't have lived the happiest life for the same reason that he thinks if you're at a football game and it's halftime and you're winning a lot, you can't call it a good game yet because the game's not done. Do you agree with that?
I disagree respectfully with Aristotle, because I think, I don't know, I feel like everyone can be happy. Like, if you're happy, cool. Like, you shouldn't have to, you can't just be like, oh, I can't be happy yet, because the day's not over, my life's not over, like, I can't be happy yet. Yes, you can. Like, I don't know.